BBC Radio Berkshire
with Anne Diamond.
Big news today all over the newspapers as well. News of the world hacked into Millie's mobile. That's the headline on the front page of The Times, also Rupert Murdoch owned. A private detective working for the News of the World hacked into Millie Dowler's voicemail messages in the days after she went missing. A lawyer for the murdered schoolgirl's parents has claimed. Scotland Yard detectives contacted Bob and Sally Dowler this year after uncovering evidence suggesting that Millie's voicemails had been listened into by reporters. Millie had her Nokia 3210 mobile phone with her when she went missing, and family members repeatedly, of course, called her number to leave messages. The telephone was never recovered, but police were able to gather data of calls made and received from her mobile phone service provider. Some of those messages appeared to have been deleted, which could have misled the police investigation into her disappearance, and, of course, given her family and friends false hope that she was still alive and somehow still using her phone. Well, this all boils down, doesn't it, now, to the journalist or the private investigator who is alleged to have done this hacking on behalf, allegedly, of the News of the World. I keep slinging in allegedlys here and there because you never know, do you, what sort of legal problems you're going to get into. And what I am interested in is how far do private investigators go? And are you shocked by the fact that they clearly went this far? By the look of it, allegedly, the investigator who then supplied his information allegedly to the News of the World. The investigator hacked into the phone and deleted messages in order to make room for further messages. How far can a PI go within the law, and how far do they go, maybe even outside the law? Let's talk to a private investigator covering South Central England here in Berkshire, Nigel Parsons. Hi, Nigel.
Oh, good morning, Anne. Hi.
Hello. Is this something you've ever done?
No. Let's
get that out of the way.
Let's start from that base.
Yeah.
No,
but clearly it is possible to do.
Oh, it's so possible.
And, well, there you are. It's so possible. It clearly is being done. How much do you think it is being done? I mean, there clearly isn't just this one guy doing it.
Do you know, Anne, I've got two minds about this. One is the back of my head that just wants to go and say so much, but a lot of it is back in that word allegedly that you just, I just heard you use, and think, hang on, I'm probably going to get absolutely persecuted for some of the things that I would like and want to say. I mean, the whole thing is so appalling. We know that. One of the worst things is the ramifications that come out for it. I mean, the dreadful consequences of what such appalling and disgusting practices brought about, and the damage to the family and the damage to the investigation and everything else.
I think a lot of people listening would probably think that hacking into the phones of anyone is really not acceptable, but maybe if it's about celebrities and politicians, we won't get too worked up about it.
Personal opinion? No, I think everybody's got a right to their own privacy.
Yeah,
I think a phone is one of those things.
Yeah, I believe that too, but I think maybe the level of whether we care enough about it is probably, well, it's been well and truly crossed over when it comes into this Millie Dowler case, doesn't it? How cynical, how rotten a person does it have to be who would do that without worrying about the consequences?
Well, I've got to be honest. I mean, we as a company, we've been around, Answers Investigation, we've been around for about 15 years. We wouldn't still be here today with recessions and everything else if we got into such worlds, and it shows there is no reason to do so. I mean, for us to operate as a business and to survive in the climate, we don't need to resort to that sort of awful practice. The sad thing is, I mean, this industry is still unregulated, and it does mean that you can get anybody in it. I've got to say, sometimes it makes a state agency look good. No, it's nothing. They'll probably get pilloried by estate agents now. But, let's not go too far into that one.
No.
I mean, the thing is, technically, it's so easy. If you've got a system, you unravel them. And a little bit of a parallel, we get involved in a lot of computer forensic work quite legitimately. If you have a computer, you can unravel a computer, and it's a simple mathematical equation. The same applies to the mobile phone. You've got messages on there, somebody can get into them.
And, of course, it's a very new thing. We're talking about an investigation that's going back at least 10 years. 10 years ago, if we had a voicemail service on our phones, we probably didn't know how to use it properly. And we certainly didn't cover it up with code words and PIN numbers, did we? We just sort of used it. And had no idea, I suppose, that it was so easy for people to hack into.
We have PIN numbers for credit cards, but it doesn't seem to make too much difference to credit card fraud going through the roof.
So, I mean, bottom line is that it is possible for a private investigator to be completely cynical, ruthless, and break the law. It is possible, probably far too easy for him to be able to do so. And it's a question of whether or not you've got somebody who's got ethics or not.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. It's also quite easy for somebody to go in and rob a building society. And yet most of us don't go and do that. And yet it does seem that because it's some sort of harmless, I hate the word harmless, but violenceless crime, that it seems to be okay. Yeah. But it's still that. It's a crime, and at least these authorities are taking it much more seriously now.
Absolutely. And I think this case, horrific though it is, because it involves Millie Dowler, who was a victim of murder, at least it does show that this is how far things can go. It can be this bad. And that maybe people will wake up to the fact that phone hacking is a very serious thing indeed.
Well, an idea that might distress slightly is if you go and look at our website or look at website of a lot of reputable private investigators, and there are a lot of us who are very, very reputable, you can go through and you won't find any suggestion of a single illegal practice on it. I mean, our website, answers.uk.com, is an example of that. And yet, you get private eyes who go and advertise such services as things like mobile phone hacking. And the fact that they seem allowed to advertise it, and nobody picks up on that and says, hang on a minute, if you went and advertised I rob building societies, I think the police should come knocking on your door.
And that's where there is a need for regulation. We'll leave it there, Nigel. Thank you very much indeed. I wonder what your thoughts are. Give us a call, 0845 900 1041.
Everybody's talking at me.